in 2017 that this month must be recognized as the Rastafari month. And that's why we are here in support of Ibrahim Traoré to liberate Mother Africa from the white colonizers.
Picture the scene. January 7th, 2025, at the inauguration of Ghana's new president. Leaders from across Africa, 21 heads of state, are present. The air is full of ceremony, pride, and power. But something unexpected happens. When one guest speaks, the crowd erupts with the loudest applause of the day. Strangely, it's not for the new president. The loudest cheers go to a young army captain, just 37 years old, from one of Africa's poorest nations. That man is Ibrahim Traoré, the military leader of Burkina Faso. His presence at the ceremony marks more than just popularity. It signals a deeper shift unfolding across the continent. Across Africa, leaders are paying close attention to Traoré, not just admiring him, but quietly copying his strategies. Some are even following his playbook word for word. Today, we uncover which African governments are borrowing from Traoré's bold ideas and why this could shape the future of the continent. What if Africa doesn't need the kind of democracy often promoted by the West? What if these leaders see that the political systems they inherited were never built with Africa's best interests in mind? What if, by following Traoré, they're not just admiring his approach, but rejecting something much bigger? This is the question we need to sit with, because what's happening across Africa could redefine leadership as we know it. We begin our investigation in Ghana. Even Traoré's supporters were surprised by the bold move Ghana made in March 2025. Here's what happened.
Recently, we had a little issue which we have resolved with one of our mining companies whose lease had expired after 30 years, and it was our desire to take it over and use Ghanaian expertise to be able to also exploit that resource and let the benefits remain in our country.
The Ghanaian government introduced a sweeping new policy that shook the country's gold sector. After April 30th, 2025, only Ghanaian nationals were allowed to buy gold from small-scale local miners. Foreign traders, many of whom were Lebanese or Chinese and had been active in the industry for decades, were pushed out. This wasn't just a business decision. It was about taking back control of a critical national resource. If it sounds familiar, that's because it mirrors what Traoré did in Burkina Faso. He nationalized gold mines and stopped the export of raw gold to Europe, keeping more of the wealth inside the country. But Ghana didn't stop there. President John Mahama, newly elected, took another major step inspired by Traoré's anti-corruption stance. He announced that all government ministers must declare their assets. If they refused, they would be fired on the spot and lose 4 months of salary. The impact was immediate. Just like in Burkina Faso, some Ghanaian officials rushed to leave the country, afraid that their hidden wealth and financial secrets would come to light. So now we have to ask an important question. Would Ghana have made these bold changes if Traoré had not shown this path first? Share what you think in the comments. At first glance, it may seem like only one country is following his lead, but what we found suggests this is happening in many parts of Africa. Let's look at the second example. In April 2025, Namibia made a decision that surprised many. For years, American citizens could enter Namibia without a visa. That changed under President Ngolo Mbumba, a woman now being called the Iron Lady of Africa. Her reason was simple. If Namibians face travel restrictions when they try to visit the United States, then Americans should experience the same when visiting Namibia. Many Western diplomats saw this as an unfriendly move, but across African social media, she was celebrated. People called her a fearless leader and a political sister to Traoré. Her decision sent a message that the days of Africa quietly accepting unfair treatment were ending. Now, for the third example. Botswana's new president, Duma Boko, is changing the image of leadership in a country known for calm, civilian government. He has been seen wearing military uniforms more than once, which breaks away from Botswana's usual approach. But that's not all. After giving a major speech, Boko openly praised how quickly Traoré takes action and said he would also push past slow government systems to get things done. This raises an important question. Are these moves random, or is there a new model of leadership spreading across Africa? This is no longer just about politics. It's deeply connected to economics and national power. Burkina Faso's economy is predicted to grow by 8% every year until 2043. Ghana's new gold policy is expected to keep millions of dollars in the country that would have otherwise gone to foreign traders. Botswana is working on building its own defense industry so it doesn't have to rely on imports. Think about the impact. Imagine being a Chinese gold trader who has worked in Ghana for 20 years. One day, the government says you are no longer allowed to buy gold. That $50 million a year you used to make now stays in the local economy. When you repeat this kind of change across other areas like oil, farming, and minerals, the total value reaches billions. But not everyone is cheering. In April 2025, a top American general, Michael Langley, accused Traoré of mishandling Burkina Faso's gold reserves.
Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime.
This is more than just a criticism. It shows that powerful countries are starting to worry about losing their influence over African economies. There is also another side to Traoré's influence that many people don't see. It's not just about laws and speeches. It's also about storytelling, technology, and image. Online, there are thousands of videos showing Traoré in dramatic scenes. Some show him leading fictional armies. Others feature him giving powerful speeches in different languages. These clips are created using artificial intelligence, and many of them are fake. Some even use voices that sound like famous musicians, such as Beyoncé or Rihanna, cheering him on. Still, the videos are spreading fast among young Africans, not because people believe everything in them, but because of what Traoré represents. To many, he stands for hope, strength, and African pride. While the news in the West focuses on controversies around his leadership, his team is quietly building something bigger. A wave of support is rising. Young people from countries like Nigeria, Kenya, and even Jamaica are organizing events calling for their own version of Traoré. They want leaders who are brave enough to break the rules, take back control, and put the people first. Just when we thought we had uncovered every influence shaping this new political wave, another example came to light. Zambia's president, Hakainde Hichilema, recently exposed what he described as the unfair treatment of African travelers seeking visas to Europe and the UK. He referred to it as the EU-UK visa scam. Hichilema argued that the current system is deeply unjust. He demanded that European nations return the visa application fees, often between $100 and $200, to Zambians who were denied entry. These fees are non-refundable, yet many applicants in Zambia spend months saving up just to apply. For European officials, the cost may seem small or routine, but for many Africans, This is a matter of fairness and respect. Hichilema called it exploitation. This kind of bold language about national dignity is very similar to what Ibrahim Traoré brought into the spotlight. What we are witnessing now is bigger than policy. African leaders are not just borrowing ideas from Traoré. Many are rethinking what leadership means altogether. This isn't about copying a style, it's about rewriting the script. For decades, African leadership has been slow, disconnected from the people, and run by aging elites. The average age of those in power is over 60. Traoré, on the other hand, brings youth, urgency, military discipline, and an uncompromising stand against corruption. At 37 years old, he publicly declared a modest net worth of $128,000, a stark contrast to presidents who live in luxury while millions remain poor. That contrast is shaking the foundations of African politics. If more countries start to take ownership of their resources, reject exploitative loans, and prioritize fast-track industrial development, we could see the most rapid economic shift the continent has ever experienced. But change of this scale comes with consequences. Based on our findings, here is what we believe may happen next. 1. Military symbolism in politics. We expect more civilian leaders to adopt the language, appearance, and discipline often associated with military leadership. 2. Stronger control over resources. Countries like Tanzania, Kenya, and Nigeria may introduce laws that limit foreign control over key resources, giving more power to local communities and governments. 3. Bolder diplomatic moves. Leaders will speak out more openly against international systems that disadvantage Africa. They will demand fairness and mutual respect in global partnerships. 4. Youth-driven political support. Industries and development instead of enriching outsiders. Still, one important question remains. Will this movement lead to a fresh era of freedom and progress, or will it drift toward strongman rule and lost democracy? At the center of this transformation is Ibrahim Traoré. He is more than just the president of Burkina Faso. He has become the symbol of a new style of leadership in Africa. His influence is showing up across the continent, from the bold reforms in Ghana's gold market to Botswana's new military-inspired image, and now Zambia's challenge to unfair international policies. If these trends continue, we may witness one of the biggest shifts of wealth and authority in Africa's history. What this all suggests is that Africa may not be chasing the old models anymore. Instead of waiting for approval from the West, leaders are starting to prioritize African pride, local ownership of resources, and fast development. This is not just a political change, it is a signal to the world. The leaders rising to power today will shape Africa's future for the next 3 decades. Their choices, actions, and vision will determine the direction this continent takes. Now, here's a challenge for you. Take a moment to think about the leadership in your own country. Are your leaders delivering real results that speak to the needs of your generation? Are they standing firm to protect the dignity and independence of your nation, even when it goes against the approval of powerful outsiders? Are they ready to make tough, uncomfortable decisions for the sake of lasting change? Let us know in the comments which African leader you believe has the courage and mindset to follow in the footsteps of Ibrahim Traoré. I read every comment, and many of your insights have helped guide future investigations and stories. If you found this deep dive helpful or eye-opening, don't miss the next video. The winds of change are already blowing across the continent. The only question now is, are you truly paying attention?